they both belong. Join the conference, it's gonna be lit. Curipod fam, you don't wanna miss it. In this digital age, we've got them online. No need to travel, no waiting in line. From the comfort of home, our passion takes light. Afraid we divide us, but our heart bars are right. Can't attend live, don't let it dismay. Plays on the way, just a click, no delay. Curicon, the future's awesome. We're writing, teaching, they both belong. Join the conference, it's gonna be lit. Curipod fam, you don't wanna miss it. So spread the word, let the assignment unfold. Curicon's the place for teachers, it's all one. In the realm of light, together we'll find. Our Curicon, let make the future come alive.
Welcome back to the electrifying Day 1, Session 3 of Curicon 2023. I'm your host, Amanda Fox, Community Manager at Curipod, and we're thrilled to have you here, diving into the heart of innovative education with us. At Curipod, our mission is not only to empower educators and learners, but foster a future where knowledge knows no bounds. In this session, we're going to delve even deeper into our mission, exploring groundbreaking teaching methods, embracing the power of AI, and reimagining the classroom experience. So I hope you're just as excited as I am as we continue on this Curicon journey to revolutionize education together. So don't forget, we also have a wonderful bingo challenge for you. I'm just going to go over it one more time. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Our bingo contest, if you will go on social media and share your learning with us, you have the opportunity to win some amazing prizes. We have Curicon t-shirts, stickers, Amazon gift cards, Curipod door hangers, Curipod licenses, and Carl Hooker's new book, The Learning Evolution. All you have to do is go in and fill out your Curicon bingo card, drop your evidence that you participated in, and then download it and share it on social media. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring up our next speaker, Heather Brantley. She's an experienced educator and founder of we're going to go ahead and hide the bingo card and bring up Heather here. Hi, Heather. And we got Chris back. So fantastic for you to be back with us as well. Heather is an experienced educator and founder of Heather Tech EDU, an educational consultant company based in Texas. With a background in instructional design and technology integration, Heather is passionate about helping teachers and students leverage the power of technology to enhance teaching and learning. Through Heather Tech EDU, she provides presentations on AI, AR, VR in the classroom, instructional design services, and educational technology consulting to schools and districts around the country. You can follow her at Heather Tech EDU on X. I'm never going to get used to saying that. It's always going to be Twitter to me. Are people actually calling it X, or is it still Twitter?
Totally always Twitter.
Because
when you go online, you type in twitter.com. I mean, you don't type in x.com. So it's always going to be Twitter for sure.
Always going to be Twitter. All right, Heather, I'm excited for your presentation today. If you want to share your screen or if you want to send me a link to your presentation, I would be happy to navigate that for you.
Let me see if I can do a share screen.
In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share that template link for our bingo card in the chat. So if you are following in the chat, I don't know why our chat's not going out to all of our social medias, but I'm going to drop it in and it will be on our YouTube channel. So if you're tuning in from LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, if you go to the YouTube, all of the comments with the links will be there. So bingo template, and I'm going to try to hop on over there and post the template as well on our other social media channels as Heather presents. I'm going to go ahead and bring up your presentation. Are you ready?
I am ready. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about being curious with Curipod. So kind of a backstory of who I am and things about me. I am Heather Brantley. I started heathertechedu.com this last year. At HeatherTech.edu is my Twitter X handle, so you can find me there. I have a most wonderful job in the whole world. I work at Pine Tree Junior High School here in East Texas in Longview, and I am the CTE web communications teacher. So not only am I preparing our junior high students for high school classes and giving them those high school credits, but I also get an opportunity to have them experience a lot of AI that has come into the web communications and help prepare them for their world and their job careers that are going to look a little different than they did for us years ago. So my hashtag is guide them, not block them. So that came into play back whenever ChatGPT first came out. Of course, I found Canva Magic Write before ChatGPT had come out, and I had already started playing with it and was fascinated with it. And I realized pretty quick that most of the districts were blocking a lot of the websites like ChatGPT. And I started wondering, like, why? What was behind it? Well, then you start having students who are saying, hey, did you hear about the new, cheat website? And I'm like, what cheat website? And well, it was ChatGPT. So that kind of background was going on more with college age students at the time. So junior high students, middle school students, they weren't really saying a whole lot about it, but there was a lot of curiosity about it happening. The whys, can use, the whats, the how abouts. Well, I'm the girl who, from little bitty, I had those questions and I still ask those questions. I think that's what the passion of being that lifetime learner is about, is asking the questions like, can it do this? Will it do this? What if I hit this button? Those type of questions always make us curious. Well, what I found is that curiosity and the meaning at vocabulary.com fit me the best. Curiosity is the state of being curious, inquisitive, wondering, ready to poke around and figure something out. So what I really liked about the things that we were seeing with the immersing of AI coming in is it was a lot of curiosity happening around the world. And it was a lot of, could it do this and will it do that? So I was intrigued myself. Well, as a lifetime learner and an educator, what intrigues me may intrigue my students. So I started bringing in AI into my classroom and looking at ways to see, can I guide my students through this? Because I wanted them to hear about the greatness in these tools, but I wanted to hear it from the perspective of all the good things that it could do and how to use tech for good versus some kid on the side saying, hey, look, here's a cheat app. Well, it's more than a cheat app. It's way more than that. So I started bringing in lessons in my classroom. So the first time I did Magic Write in Canva in my classroom, the students were asking questions and can it do this? And I'm like, well, let's try it out. So I was sampling it and learning really alongside them with it. And it was very interesting. It was almost 10 to 15 minutes into the conversation before a student ever raised their hand and said, Ms. Brantley, can I use that to cheat? So it was very heartwarming to know that these students who were presented with this for the very first time were looking at it as a learning tool versus a tool that's going to get the assignment done quickly. So, and of course, over time, we have learned more. There has been great books written. There's been great conversations and presentations about AI and ways that we can use it into the classroom. But around January, I found Curipod as well. So it didn't take me long, and I am reaching out. And I reached out to Eric and met the whole crew. It was phenomenal. And I was like, hey, do you have an ambassador program? Because I want to be a part of this. This is huge. Now, at the time, there was only a few buttons in Curipod. So it started out kind of simple. And then it seemed like almost every day in the chat boxes and in the communication back and forth, Curipod was doing something incredible. They were saying, can it do this? And will it do this? And what do we need to do to make that happen? So I have just fallen in love, not only with the Curipod, the product, but Curipod is a family. There are some extremely wonderful people that I now consider part of my family because Curipod is about the heart of kids. Curipod isn't just another product. This isn't something that's just going to go through. This is about what am I doing for students? What am I giving to students? And how am I doing it in a safe way? So I love the fact that Curipod encouraged curiosity, but Curipod also allowed for every student voice to be heard. So sitting in my classroom, I have the student who's, an Eric, front row guy, who has all the right answers, but I also have all of these really bashful, quiet, but so intelligent students that their voice is just as important. So, of course, whenever I jumped into Curipod, it didn't take me but 1 or 2 lessons for me to realize how big of a value that was. One, as y'all have seen if you've been watching and playing along with us tonight, that when you log in, you are able to have this like cool name that's, could be even a cat name come up, and no one in the room knows who is who unless you tell. So students have an opportunity for their voice to be heard. And it's really fun watching the lessons when the students try to figure out who's who on top of it. So it strikes a little bit extra curiosity in there, allowing for all the student voices to be heard in the classroom. So I am in the classroom. I get the pleasure of being with students every day. I have over 100 students that cross my doorway every day. And today we played with Curipod because we had a wonderful launch last week with a new AI program. So let's get busy tonight. We're going to say, let's be curious together in Curipod. I'm going to open up into my Curipod account and I have my lesson. So the curiosity in me, I hit every button. Like the worst case scenario, there's the home button that takes me back to where I started, right? So if you're new to Curipod and you're just now starting to kind of step in and you don't know where to start, kind of take a look at some of the things that are already created. So here at the top, you have the Discover. And when you click on Discover, here are some wonderful lessons that were already done. And they even have it broken down into social emotional, math, brain breaks, creativity and exploration. And you can see if it was created by the studio. Eric created some in here. It is just a great way for you to look at a lesson, see what it's about, and get your feet a little wet. So if you're not one who's like curious enough yet to jump in and create your own, start with something that was already created. Okay. So that way you get a feel of the platform and what it's like. So I was previously, before getting the blessing of the CTE classroom doing web communications, I was a math teacher for over 10 years. And I can tell you that math sometimes can be a little hard to get students engaged. So I was super excited. I was teaching math back in January when this started, to kind of dig in and do some math lessons. So there are some math lessons already created here for you to use, but we're going to go into create lesson. And if you've seen Eric earlier tonight, he did a great job of going through. Okay, like I said, we started out with like maybe 5 or 6 buttons, and now it's like, wow, it could do this. Let's try this. Okay, so let's talk about how I introduced Curipod to my classroom. So whenever students are curious and teachers are curious, the best way to be curious is together. So we had just started learning about fractions, and we were talking about fractions. So I actually had the students kind of help create a lesson together. And it was really fun. I said, okay, let's create a lesson for another teacher. Let's do another lesson. So I'm going to kind of walk you through kind of what we did on that. So at the time, full lesson was our option. I was teaching a 6th grade class, and they were talking about life cycles. So we're going to do the life cycles, if we can type, of a butterfly. And do magic. So just like this, I was able to show the students about how this lesson can work in another class.
Heather, did you change tabs? Did you change tabs? Yeah. They can't see your screen.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yep. No worries, guys. We've got the screen coming.
Yep. Present. Okay. Let me try it again. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull up that wonderful Curipod that Heather's showing, and she's gonna dive more into her, engaging students with curiosity and showcase
All right. Are we there now?
Awesomeness. We're
Can
there
we
now.
Life cycles of a butterfly.
Life cycles of a butterfly. I see it. Awesome.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So what we're looking at here is where you can create a lesson in more than just math. You can create a lesson in science. So when you get the students super excited, then it's easier to also help get the teachers excited. So also, anytime that you're doing any type of professional development, Curipod is a great way to introduce Curipod to the group. So the students were able to see, like we talked about the different slides. If they didn't like it, we can regenerate. Maybe it wasn't hitting exactly what I wanted it to hit. So I really like the fact that inside of Curipod, you can customize this and make it your own. So a great fun thing for you to do with your students is actually go in and create the lesson with them. Let them see the curiosity and the power of AI. Because I think that as we're talking about AI, with the limitations of the 13 and above, for most of the generative stuff, students are hearing it, but what is it? What does that look like? What does that mean to them? So I think that it's great for educators to not only talk about what is AI, but let's give them examples of how we are using it every day in the classroom and how it affects their life. So I really think that this is important for us to generate and make lessons with students. So earlier with the screen not shared, apparently, I'm sorry about that. The discover part right here was where I was showing that lessons were already created for you get to go in and choose. And then, of course, the create lessons. So I'm going to go back to my home and I'm going to show you today's lessons. I did this lesson with my students today. So originally the slides for Mundo, and Mundo is an AI platform that is safe for all students to be able to learn about the world with the world. And I'm going to give you a little bit more on that here in just a moment. But my students are learning about AI in my classroom. So we introduced Mundo to them. Mundo released last week with Digital Citizens Institute. And what we were doing with Mundo is trying to make sure that all of my students had the opportunity to know what Mundo was. So I used Curipod to introduce it. And just like the best example that I give my students all the time is before I allow you to drive a car, let's have a driver's ed lesson. Let's learn about the do's and the don'ts, the safety practices. And I think that's one of the things that students are curious. Let's answer those questions that they have. Why do we not do this? Or what is the purpose behind it? Because often, so many times, I think what happens is we get in the middle of, hey guys, here's something new. And they don't understand, like, where did that come from? What is the safe practice? Why is it in place? So today's lesson, we introduced Mundo as our AI assistant for school communities to learn about the world with the world. And then we did a word cloud together. And what comes to mind when you think about safety, online platforms, and AI assistants? Well, this sparks that curiosity. And I love that part about Curipod is we're sparking the curiosity at the very beginning of a lesson. Okay, what do you know about it? What's the background knowledge here? And how does that apply to you? So what are you thinking? And in this, it kind of gives you an idea of where the students are at and how much you need to cover, going back to previous year's experiences and bringing in personal experiences for students. So, and then we went through what is Mundo and how it is a safe place. How can an AI assistant like Mundo help students in creating a safe and positive experience? So here I am giving my students kind of a step-by-step guide through how to use this AI assistant, Mundo, before I ever give them the right to Mundo, because I want them to be able to use this tool as effectively as possible. It's like, who can use me? What if I'm under the age of 13? So 13 and older is kind of set up by ChatGPT and other platforms. And I explained the why behind that, because the students need to know we're not just saying this to be mean and ugly. There's a reason to protect you. And it is about the safety and the digital citizenship. Oh, we had created drawing of Mundo using technology. Okay, that was a lot of fun. I wish I would have had time after school before I jumped on here to put a picture in. These kids were so creative at drawing the world using technology. It was awesome. So we went through the safety uses, but I'm going to skip down to ways that we want to use an AI assistant. So I think as we're handing kids these great tools and we're spiking the curiosity of them, we need to explain to them like, hey, here are a few ways. And then the conversation it really gets real in the classroom of how they're going to use it. And once again, you can use a platform. Curipod is the best platform to kind of gather those ideas so everybody can hear. And when the voting starts happening and everybody is engaged, there is not, for me, a 45-minute class period, there's not a minute wasted. There's not that time that kids are bored. They are engaged. They're asking questions. They're collaborating. Other people's curiosity sparks their curiosity. And having that classroom environment of a safe learning environment that kids feel like they have the safety to be able to ask and be curious together, which Curipod does that. It gives every kid that voice. So I have been really, and then how confident do you feel about this? Because if most of the kids are still neutral, I don't feel confident in giving them the link to Mundo. So it's really one of those that I enjoy watching the kids. I enjoy the questions. I like the polisher. So of course, students are like, hey, it can write my paper. Yes. But by now, most kids have heard that it can write a paper. So this is the way I explained it to them. Okay, it can write your paper, but wouldn't it be better for you to put your paper in and ask it to give you 5 suggestions on how it could be a better paper and you make the adjustments? So that way your voice is not lost. So I feel that student voice is important. And I think that AI is giving them ways that they can share their voice, but we want to make sure in this that their voice is not lost. That it doesn't sound like everybody else and it doesn't sound like a computer, because there is something about that human touch that is available in AI it's beautiful, and we don't want to lose that. Okay, so I'm going to click back over. We're going to see if I can do this again I'm going to go back to my other screen. So I got to stop sharing that one and go back in to share screen. Okay. Okay. So, wow, wasn't that fun? So even though you didn't get to see a part of it, we still made it work, right? So that's what we do as teachers. We make the best of every moment and we just go with the flow. Curiosity helps with that as well. All right. So need a safe generator for kids to have a safe place to explore. I want to make sure that everybody has the link to Mundo, and I will get that one. Let's see if I can get it to. All right. Did I flip over? Yes. Okay. It worked. All right. So I want you to meet Mundo. So Mundo is that safe learning environment that we were talking about. So one of the things that I had kids do today, they were learning about in one of their math classes, they shared with me that they were learning about the angles of a triangle. So I asked them to ask Mundo, tell me about the angles of a triangle. And as it generated up, I started having them look at each other's and have the conversation with each other about how not everyone got the exact same response. Every response was different. So I think that this is giving our students an opportunity to not only learn about the new AI with Mundo, but also giving them that safe place that they can go in and explore and be guided through. So going back to, my hashtag, guide them, not block them. Are we guiding our students through? Are we giving them a safe place? And are we explaining why? Are we using that digital citizenship before we just give them the AI tools? So the curiosity that is big in me, I hope to share with my students every day. I hope to give them the whys, the whats, the can, and what if. And worst case scenario, if you don't like the answer, let's go back to home and start over. So, okay, so here I'm going to show, it says the triangle's a polygon, and it goes into the angles of the polygon. So then I showed them how it create a study guide on this with real world example problems and answers. And then it was generating a study guide. So I showed them, I was like, okay, your teacher gives you this much. She tells you to study. You go home and you're like, well, I don't know what to study. Take that curiosity, go plug it into Mundo and see. Mundo can help you study. He is an assistant to help you with that. So we talked about the things we do with Mundo, the things we do not. We have to, again, we don't just give them the driver's license and say, go drive. We teach them the lessons that they need to be safe while they're out there on the road. So, all right, we're going to go back to Mundo. And Mundo can be found on my website and the Digital Citizenship Institute website as well. At HeatherTech EDU is how you can reach out and connect with me. And please check out heathertechedu.com, and you'll see on there Meet Mundo if you want to use Mundo in your classroom. Mundo is, and I don't have Mundo's in Georgia right now, but Mundo, we have a little plush Mundo that we're capturing Mundo all around the world. So it's taking that interactive AI and sharing it with classrooms around the world, because as I'm curious, as you're curious, let's be curious together is really what I want us to do. Curipod allows that to happen in our classroom, and that's what I got.
Heather, that was absolutely amazing. I love all the great examples from your class, and I love that you let them help you create it. I'm going to have to try that, as well as looking at Mundo. I have a complete Post-it note with everything that I have to do tomorrow. And you definitely helped me add to that. That was so great. Thank you so much.
And I'm happy to share the Mundo Curipod slide as well, because it is, like I said, it is important for us to talk to the students before we just hand that over to them. They need to understand what AI is and how it affects our life. I did several Curipod assignments at the beginning of the year, just introducing AI. What is AI? What does it stand for? And how does it affect us? And it's really funny just having the kids respond like in the drawings. It's like, okay, what do you think AI is going to look like in 5 years? Well, they were thinking AI is a person. So they had like the weird glasses, and I was like, okay, so let's talk about that a little bit more. But it kind of gives you like a peek into, in a safe environment, a peek into where they're thinking, where they're at, and what we need to do to guide them. So guiding them, not blocking them, has been my big motto from the very beginning, because they're going to be curious. They are definitely going to be curious, especially, for me, those middle schoolers, they're going to be curious. They're going to go look at it. So why don't we guide them in a safe environment, answering those curious questions the best that we can? And Curipod, like I said, has done a phenomenal job. And I'm blessed to wear orange. I mean, I was so proud to wear my Curicon shirt today. I loved it. The kids were like, hey, those are the guys from the school. I'm like, yeah. So they remembered their visit, which was phenomenal. So if you are a school and they're in your area, let them come talk to your students. Let them come talk to your faculty, because Curicon, it's here to make our lives easier for sure.
And I love the idea of giving them training wheels before you just push them out there, because as a middle school teacher, I'm so with you. They are going to look at it, and I want to be there to help guide them instead of just throwing them into it. So
absolutely,
so much great stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, it was a pleasure and a blessing to be here tonight with Curicon, and just
we'll
see you soon.
Yeah, and guys, we have another great session coming up with Renee Dawson right after this. So just a quick little reminder, make sure you've got that bingo card, that you're working on your dance challenge with your orange. And there are so many great prizes to win. And check out Heather's stuff on X, which will always be Twitter to me.
Yeah, Twitter.
And I can't wait to look at Mundo myself. All right, guys, let's move on to another great session.
Thank you.
Hey.
Curicon, the future's awesome. We're riding